Amber, Nicole, Rachel, Ryan, Dave, and James were all friends from high school who had always been drawn to the thrill of adventure. They had heard rumors of a mysterious city called Argon deep in the Colorado mountains, a place that was said to be abandoned and forgotten by time. The stories they had heard of Argon were intriguing, and they couldn't resist the urge to explore this mysterious place for themselves. One summer, they set out on a road trip in their beat-up van, determined to find Argon and uncover its secrets. They packed camping gear, food, and water, and set off on their journey. They drove 4 hours through winding mountain roads, the van struggling to make it through the rough terrain. As they got deeper into the mountains, the road became more treacherous and narrow. The trees grew taller and closer together, and the sky grew darker. They were in the middle of nowhere. The only sign of civilization were old abandoned mines and ghost towns. But they pushed on, driven by their desire to find Argon. They arrived at a narrow dirt road that seemed to lead into the heart of the mountains. The road was overgrown and barely visible, but they followed it anyway. They drove 4 hours, the road becoming more and more treacherous with each passing mile. Finally, they saw a faint light in the distance. They had found Argon. The city was located in a remote valley, surrounded by tall peaks and dark forests. They parked the van and set up camp, eager to explore the city the next day. As they explored the city, they discovered that it was abandoned and in ruins. The buildings were crumbling, and the streets were overgrown with weeds. They found no signs of life, and no indication of why the city had been abandoned. As the day turned to night, they began to feel uneasy. They heard strange noises and saw shadows moving in the darkness. They tried to ignore it and went to bed, but they couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. The next day, they decided to leave the city, but as they packed up their camp, they realized that their van wouldn't start. They were stranded. They searched for a phone signal, but there was none. They were completely cut off from the outside world. As night fell, the friends grew increasingly worried. They decided to spend the night in the van, but sleep was hard to come by. They were jumpy, constantly on edge, imagining strange noises and movements outside the van.